Okay, I think we can start. It's really hard to compete with lunch, so I'm extremely happy that so many of you are here. I'm Szilard Szell from Nokia, and I would like to talk a little bit about testing in DevOps. Actually, almost everybody talked about this topic, so I'm done. Okay, not fully. But yesterday we had very good discussion and presentation from Mitko, also touching DevOps. We touched IoT, Olivier touched as well, many areas. And in the morning, Mette discussed about testing in the SQA Days-23 framework. What I would like to talk about today is DevOps and testing in DevOps, and a little bit a way how we did assessment in our company, how to help transformation of DevOps in a big company. And actually about the testing part of this transformation and this DevOps assessment. A little bit about myself. I'm from Hungary, but just recently I moved to Finland. So after being 18 years with Nokia, now I moved to another company which is called Nokia Finland. So I quit Nokia Hungary and now I work for Nokia Finland. Big change. I'm a test coach and a DevOps evangelist. Now, just a few weeks ago, I became a certified SAFe program consultant as well. So my role will be to educate people in the SQA Days-23 framework. I'm also the president of the Hungarian testing board, so I'm working with ISTQB folks and also leading the process and compliance working group in ISTQB since 2 weeks ago, something like that. Yes, and I'm driving conferences. I'm a program committee member of HUSTEF and UCAT. So if you're interested, the Hungarian Software Testing Forum is also a nice, similar size conference. Just come there, visit us in the autumn. I'm a collector. I'm collecting Lego, and I'm collecting experience, and I'm collecting certifications as well. So I have a couple. In the ISTQB, I have the expert level on test process improvement. I have the DASA, the SQA Days-23 framework, and Scrum Master as well, certified Scrum Master. And also I own the requirement engineering, the foundation level. And just a little bit on the other side, on the dark side of quality management, I have the Lean Six Sigma Green Belt as well. So a little bit of theoretical knowledge, that means I have no practical time for practice anymore. Okay, not true. But today I would like to talk a little bit about Nokia and Nokia DevOps as stated. But yesterday I just added this slide to my material because we had a lot of questions about, oh, you work for Nokia, is that still alive? But you were sold to Microsoft, right? Are you still doing phones? No. We are not that Nokia. We are the networks side, okay? We are behind all of your calls. Okay, not everyone, but probably yes. At least 1.7 billion people around the world are connected through our equipment, okay? And when it comes to IoT, self-driving cars, and all those little things that you have out there, probably we are behind that. In factory automation, in augmented reality, oh my God, the colors are not really visible. Anyway, so almost everywhere, Nokia has to provide the secure connection between these equipment. Secure, fast, reliable, and fast and secure and reliable connection. Have you heard about 5G? It's just as big buzzword as IoT. They are saying that 5G is the innovation platform for the Internet of Things. And Nokia is one of the drivers in 5G. Okay, so Nokia is very well, thank you. We are feeling good. It's a 100,000 company. Last year we merged with Alcatel-Lucent. Actually, currently the company is like Nokia, Siemens, Motorola, Alcatel-Lucent. So if we talk about culture and multinationality, that's us. Culture is important also in DevOps. So I will talk a little bit about DevOps first today, then the DevOps assessment itself, what we have done and how we did it, And then going to the testing aspects of DevOps and then giving you a little bit of a summary. So what is DevOps? Just very quickly, the DevOps is the synergy of Kaizen, Lean, and Agile methodologies for the purpose of connecting the development and the operational side with collaboration and frequent integration. Integrating very quickly into production, deploy your software into production, get feedback from it, how it works, and refine it. It's an infinity loop of continuous requirement analysis, planning, coding, building, testing and releasing the software, but as well as deploying it to production and maintaining it. So we are monitoring the network continuously. We are checking, analyzing the results, and based on that, we go back and start planning again, planning new features, optimizing the networks, and delivering the corrections again and again. In telco, this is a little bit of a tricky thing, because in telecom, you want your phone to be always on, right? You want to have your emergency calls on. And what we want with DevOps, just like Amazon Cloud, we want to update the software in every 11 seconds. Yesterday somebody asked why people want to have the latest software all the time and why we are actually not waiting for having better software. But actually to have better software, you need a correction, so for that you need to update the software. So the point is we want to have the possibility to upgrade the software on the field. And again, when I'm talking about updating software in radio network, for example, that means you update the software in 50,000 base stations. Not one, 50,000. You want to update it quickly. And by the way, safely and without problems. It doesn't look good that some village has no coverage. I was working on a maintenance team responsible for some area, and we were in the news, in the French news. They said Nokia caused a village losing water. I mean, what? It's maybe the early stage of Internet of Things. It turned out that the data core was not working, which was driving the water pumps in that village. So actually, because of a software bug in the mobile network, no data cores, so no water. Ouch, that hurts. Okay, so we don't want to crash that water pump every 11 seconds. So even we go with DevOps, this telco DevOps is a little bit different area, and we need to be very careful how do we go there. So to get there, actually we are having different areas, but still with the DevOps, what are the important areas of that? What are the different and important aspects? Not so visible on the screen there either. Culture and transparency is extremely important in DevOps. So we need to have a totally different culture of quick decision making on low level. I mean low level, so not everything is decided by the management. Culture of sharing, culture of failure. Have you heard about celebrating failure? When you open the champagne, when you fail, that's a different culture, right? Management need to change a little bit for that. Business agility, so we need to have agile software development, but as well agile business. Many times business management say, guys, this is yours. Your R&D, you do agile. But I need my planning for the next 18 months. Oh, that sounds waterfallish a little bit. Full automation, automating as many things as possible. Yeah, I cannot even see it myself. Simplify operations. Yes, actually I'm a software guy, I'm in development, so I'm not on the operational side. But operation need to be simplified. How can you update the system every 11 seconds if you cannot operate it quickly, right? If you don't have the operational features there, operability features. Okay, we reach this through maintenance, we reach this through automated workflows, we reach this with continuous software delivery, and we reach this with monitoring the network and deploying there. All the DevOps gives us fewer failures, we hope so, and that's the aim of the whole thing. Faster time to market, as well as operational efficiency. So in DevOps, as said, the operational team is part of the development team with a very, very close feedback. So this gives the visibility of the operational pain to the developers. And this means probably solving these pain points, so this gives operational efficiency as well. Okay, I don't want to go more deeply into DevOps, just a little bit of highlights here. So now, what is a DevOps assessment and how we came up with that? First of all, in a large company like us, we need to have, for every transformation, typically a central team who is helping that. I'm part of this team. We call it the DevOps Center of Excellence. In SAFe, in Scaled Agile, you have the LACE, the Lean Agile Center of Excellence. So in many areas with large companies, you find these Center of Excellence teams. If you have low quality or manual releases, which is typical in IT, a huge product backlog defined for the next 18 months, 36 months, whatever, years and years of roadmaps that we kind of propose, and then let's see if we can fulfill. Then very slow release process, infrequent releases, meaning that you have a huge amount of feature in your side which is not delivered yet. You have no idea about that feature, is it good or bad? If you remember again, DevOps was about feedback as well, fast feedback cycle. It's not only to see that the software is good, I mean technically, but it's also to see if this is the feature that was needed for the market. It's a business feedback. If you heard about A/B testing, who has heard about A/B testing? Okay, quite many of you. That's very good. That's a typical DevOps-ish term for checking if the A implementation of a feature is better or the B implementation of the feature. It's testing of the business, right? It's not testing of the technical evaluation or technical implementation of the code. Okay, so we have all these problems. And by the way, it's not only us who are slow in release, but it's also the customer. So after we have done our softwares, many times the operators, our mobile operators, are testing another 6 months. So we develop for 18 months, they are testing for 6 months. Do you need a new feature quickly? Okay, so let's go DevOps. Let's try to speed that up. So part of my team is working on this maturity model, which is helping the organization to transform. I suppose many of you have heard about maturity models, right? CMMI, TMMI, and other maturity models. So the point there is that you can measure how, I wouldn't say how good is your organization, but where your organization is, where you want to go, and what's the path, how you can get there. Maturity model typically helps you there. So we started to check a lot of different maturity models. There are many of them already on the market related to DevOps as well. We learned many of them, and then we decided to build an own one. Telco, as I said, telco DevOps is a little bit different than IT world. The whole telco is more rigid and not as much tolerating failure, not really celebrating failure. So first of all, we started to check what are the areas in the DevOps that we need to focus on the agile development, on continuous integration, continuous delivery and deployment, but continuous monitoring as well of the whole system. So actually covering the whole DevOps pipeline with continuous feedback, requirements, and planning as well. So our maturity model is checking the continuous everything. And we build it based on that to be able to see how the organizations are working in these different aspects. So we came up with the model that is following the CMMI and the TMMI model from one point of view. that having these 5 levels. But on the other hand, we are also following the TPI next that is based on key areas. So in Nokia, we defined 12 key areas like culture and organization, planning and requirement, software configuration management, the continuous integration itself, quality assurance and verification, architecture, visibility, upgradability, and then on the operator side, the maintenance and monitoring and feedback. Here it is really the feedback about how the system works, system integration, network implementation, and network planning and organization, optimization. These are special areas, again, in telco that we need to check. I would stay here just one more second. So actually, when you are typically in a big company, and in Nokia we have a big R&D part and a big services part. So R&D is doing something, throw it through the fence, and then services is bringing it to the customer, installing, optimizing, and the feedback cycle is very slow, unfortunately, currently. It's getting better. And they are not really aligned. With the DevOps assessment, we assess both the R&D part as well as the services part together. Many times we were the first guys who were asking these guys, do you know each other? Oh yeah, I sent some emails to that guy. Phone call? No. Any platform for collaboration? Not really. So it's good also to connect the people. You know, Nokia is connecting people. Okay, so within the 12 categories, we came up with different key areas. And within the key areas, we came up with best practices. And for every best practice, we have a set of questions which is defining on which level you are, how high, so level 1, level 2, level 3, 4, 5, you fulfill that best practice. A little bit of complex maturity model, but if you know the TMMI or TPI next, you know as well that there are so many questions behind them, so many aspects to check that this was needed. So from the inside, what we do or what we can show after checking around all the capabilities of the organization within the 12 category with like more than 1,000 questions, we can show that what part of the value stream is behind. So where the management should put focus on transformation, allocating effort to define, for example, enabler features in the safe terminology to speed up the area and to be better. If you know the theory of constraints, it's always saying that so on the value stream, there will be always one bottleneck, and you need to do improvement on the bottleneck. It doesn't matter where you improve other ways. If you don't improve your bottleneck, you won't have faster flow. And remember, the whole DevOps is about lean as well, so it's about flow, it's about value stream. Okay? So this helps the management to see where to focus on. How this works, it's an example. So for example, in the quality assurance in test automation area, I'm looking for how well the test case scripting is in place. We are checking different questions, and based on the answer, the team say, for example, the test automation framework is in use, but software development practices are not used yet well in automation code. Sometimes people doesn't realize that the automation code itself is almost as big as the product code, right? So you need SCM, you need version control, you need code review, you need module testing of your module testing. Oh my God. But this is checking about that one. And the highest thing would be like test design automation is in place. So automated test design. The test cases are generated automagically, as we say. The other part is, for example, test result analysis, so checking that how well the analysis of the result is automated and the reporting of the result. So based on the answers, we can decide that this area is on level 2, giving some example of what are the key issues, and based on that, we can identify improvement ideas, like introduce static code analysis and code review practice for the automation code, or automate the test result reporting to the test management. You remember we had a visibility as well. And by the way, I didn't mention that even the testing has own category. It has a lot of connection to others. For the requirement management and planning, you need to have testing there. Visibility, it's about testing. Continuous integration is about testing. So we worked very hard with all the other guys behind these categories to separate and to see what question comes from or is stated in which category. But we've always worked together. And when I do the assessment, so checking the answers of the questions and doing the interviews with the people, I'm always gathering information from the other areas as well. Yes, so you put improvement ideas, and then, of course, because we are a big company, we want to sustain these improvements. We put some KPIs as well. So, for example, with the automation code, we start to measure technical depth of the automation code as well. And then what you want to show to management that this is actually decreasing all the time. Okay, so this is the cycle, the plan, do, check, act cycle, the continuous improvement cycle in DevOps, and this is the continuous improvement cycle inside our maturity model. Okay, let's go a little bit more into the areas of testing. Mette mentioned a lot of these already, but let me give a kind of one sentence that I defined for the testing in DevOps. In DevOps, and I read this because I love this sentence. In DevOps, good testing can be achieved through customer collaboration, test-first thinking, with the aim to provide continuous product-level quality assurance by being efficient, by utilizing the lowest possible test level, or shift left, automation of the testing tasks, as well as sharing the testing tools and test assets across the value stream. Okay, this is a loaded sentence, right? So I try to put everything into this one. But the idea is that this is giving you the cornerstones of testing in DevOps, at least how we defined it. And we are measuring everything against these. So, test-first thinking. When we talk about test-first thinking, what is that? Early involvement of the testers, but as well as how I will test it. Can we define the acceptance criteria up front? Actually, do we do acceptance test-driven development or behavior-driven development? Because that means we are not having requirement and testing separately, but this is actually the same thing. So on this level, we can check how the acceptance test is defined, when the other testing are defined. Is it defined in collaboration? Is it defined in collaboration through the whole value stream? So when we are talking about the different levels, the questions are going in how well you are collaborating. Are you involved the services? Are you involving the customer? Oh, sorry for you, the customer, right on the right side. Customer is important, and a few weeks ago I've been to one of our customers in Canada. They said very clearly that we would love to be involved in your planning and requirement analysis and acceptance criteria definition, because otherwise we just get the software from you after whatever 18 months, and it turns out that this is not what we wanted, right? So collaboration and early feedback is important. Testing is guided by risk levels. I suppose you heard about risk-based testing. It's important whenever you need to do testing in a time-boxed manner. What should I test? Everything. Oh yeah, because I have millions years, right? Testing everything is proven mathematically that is not possible. I don't need to tell this to the management because it's proven. You can't do it. So I test as much as I can, find the scary things first, right? That's risk-based testing. So we are checking also on that level on risk-based testing. How much is it in place? Do we do risk assessment upfront? Is it on feature level? Is it on release level? how well you do that. There are a couple of books on this, so this area itself is like maybe next year's presentation of mine. Good. Next one is continuous product level quality assurance. This is again a little bit of tricky sentence. Why I talk about this? Because people believe if I test my feature, it's done. But actually your feature is an enhancement of your product. Oh, and by the way, sometimes it's enhancement of your system, which is integration of products, right? And again, think of a telecom network. The systems of systems of systems of systems. Huge amount of stuff there. So whenever you change anything, you need to kind of test it again. Integrate it together and see how it works. You know, we have a special job in Nokia, the field verification testers. Do you know what they need as an additional certification? A driving license, because the whole day they are driving in the city and testing the phone coverage and all the radio and the handover between the cells and the voice quality by driving. I like that part as well. Actually, in Finland, we have, I don't know, like 100 square kilometer test area within the city to do our drive testing. Oh, can we do it in continuous integration mode? Like every 11 seconds? I don't know. But we will figure out, okay? In maybe 1 year, 2 years, I will tell you that. Good. So it's important to check the whole system for quality assurance, not only the feature. And then we translated that into checking the coverage and traceability. So what are the requirement coverage levels, code coverage levels? How do you measure that? Do you have the traceability in place? So can you kind of prove that your testing were covering enough things? Okay, this is measurement of testing. Non-functional quality assurance. Of course, we are talking about that. Even Scaled Agile framework having the NFR, the non-functional requirements, as a special area. But many times we are just forget about them. I mean, forget about them. But if you check the standard, the ISO standard, it's not only performance. It's not only security. It's all about operability, performance efficiency, reliability, compatibility, what else? Portability, etc., etc. And in telco, we have a lot of non-functional requirements. Last year, we ran a big robustness campaign. And by the way, advertisement. We did a big bug hunting session there. And I will talk about bug hunting at 5:10 outside in that small room. So Mette gave me the idea of bug hunting, and I realized that I want to share my experience. So we ran a big reliability campaign, doing bug hunting, focusing on robustness and reliability faults. We found fault that is equal to €1 million. Okay, that campaign paid back nicely. So sometimes it's good to focus on that as well. Good. And the last one is actually the regression testing in this area. So how do you do regression testing? Think of that, our products are on the field for 25 years. How much regression we have there? How many possibilities for regression faults? Huge. But you can't test everything again and again and again, right? So you need to have upgrade your regression set. You need to have actually automated regression test case selection. Okay, so running analytics, machine learning, and everything to select your test cases. That's the kind of highest level, level 5 in here. Other aspects is utilizing lowest possible test level. I gave this name, but what I'm using is shift left. Everybody is using shift left as a term, right? Now it became a buzzword again. Since 1970, it's a buzzword, but now it's again. Do you know what is shift left? The opposite of shit right. So if you don't do shift left, you do the other things, okay? And that means you deliver crap to the customer. Be careful with that. Do shift left. That's more important. So here are some aspects what we check is code analysis. statical code analysis, code review, is it in place? So very early techniques. Even requirement analysis, requirement review is in this area. Module or unit testing, low-level testing again in use. Nothing special, but through the levels, to level 1 to level 5, we go up really that, are you using or covering, for example, security-related and capacity and performance-related things in your unit testing? Or the memory leak testing, or the response time testing already on low level is belongs to this category. And test planning in collaboration between test levels. If you look this chart, I just try to put some of our testing phases there, but actually this is even not full because we have then at least 3 more how we go towards the customer. How can you involve these? You need to collaborate together planning your testing so you can do the shift left. If those guys at services says that, you know, I would test as well how to upgrade this software, then the guys earlier should say, oh, you know, then I should test it as well. And then the module testers should say that, okay, in upgrade, these things could go wrong, so I would at least need to cover those with my unit test and module test, so lower level tests. That's the whole concept. So collaboration and collaborative test planning is helping with the shift left. Right. And again, I have a full presentation on shift left as well, so maybe some of the years. Good. Automation of testing tasks. Testing tasks, not only execution, but everything around that. And I picked a few things here, but for example, as mentioned, test case as a software. How well we are defining and doing and designing our test cases as a software. Are we reviewing? Do we have it in SVN? So all these aspects are checked. Test result analysis and reporting. In DevOps, it's extremely important to have very clear visibility, that anytime you know where you are. And for example, testing gives you the real feedback, right? Doing a task doesn't mean that you have done it. I did coding, check. Really? Yes, because the tests are running. And the acceptance test shows that it was done. Okay, now I believe you really did it. So it's important to have all the feedback from the execution back to planning, back to management, even back to the customer. These guys are already halfway through about the user stories that I need, so sometimes I can expect that feature to be delivered to me. Let's do the preparation. Okay, so information flow, and this is coming from this very tiny part of reporting and analysis automation. And the last one is test environment automation, test deployment, environment deployment automation. How well and how quickly you can set this up. In cloud, it's easy, right? You just deploy your new test environment, all the test tools, everything, right? Like your performance test tool. Do you know what is the capacity of our equipment? Like 5 million busy hour call attempt. So you need at least 50,000 IP addresses just to start up your load testing. Oh yeah, quickly update it in cloud. Oh, it's not that quickly. We need to come up with the idea how to make it quick, how to build the environment in cloud or in bare metal in a way that you can do the testing. You need to be able to deploy your system under test software. You need to be able to deploy your test libraries. You need to be able to deploy your test tools, so everything. So this part is again important, and we are going deep into this in the analysis. The picture below shows a kind of a couple of integration loops, like product integration, then a system integration, and then a system of systems integration loop. Everything needs to be automatically deployed. And again, we are talking, the last part is a full mobile network with the core elements, with the radio elements, with everything. Oh yes, and with the driver in the car, right? You just deploy him automatically. So this is also an important aspect. By the way, when we started working on this assessment model, we did a lot of different categories and best practices. So originally it was double the size, but we started to prioritize and cut it back to a kind of normal or the smaller set. So if you say that, oh, but I would have a good idea what to put here, you are probably right, and probably we had it, but had to remove. It will evolve anyway, so it's a continuous improvement and continuous learning as well. Last one is about the tools and test assets throughout the value stream. Sharing that. Why do you think this is important? It's important because you don't want to recreate everything in every test stage, right? You don't want to do like repeating all these things many times. So if you have a low-level test and you define a test case there, why not to reuse that test case a little bit later as well? Why not to deliver that test case even to the customer and let the customer reuse your test? Oh, by the way, our customers are asking for our test tools as well because they want to use it. Because they don't want to buy it from the market. Why not to reuse? So reuse is also important here. So what we are checking is how much you are sharing your test assets through the value stream and how much test asset like test cases, test libraries, and then how much you are sharing all the test tools here. So the dream state, what we want to achieve is that tester is a value-driven role in the DevOps team with all of collaboration, quick feedback, and providing quality assurance. And the pessimistic, what we don't want is that it's a cost-driven, separated silo, which is at the end of the pipeline and just seen as a bottleneck. Our assessment model is helping the organizations to get to the kind of dream state scenario. So to sum up the presentation, big size transformations typically need a central center of excellence team. So you need help, you need support, you can't do it yourself. One of my colleagues stated many times that you can't just do this like Münchhausen. You can't lift yourself up. You can't improve just on your own all the time. You need some help, some support. You need to study all the available DevOps maturity models, but if it's not for you, dare to develop your own, okay? Testing is still a needed skill set in DevOps. We talk about automation, programming, and coding, and like testing is disappearing, right? Mitko said as well, we won't have testers in 50, 100 years. Until then, we still need to work even in DevOps. Testing in DevOps is not only automation, but relies on it a lot. You, as a DevOps tester, need to know coding, need to know the tools, need to know a hell lot of things, but don't forget that you need to explore continuously and learn the new things. Continuous improvement, continuous exploration is also key in DevOps. So, thank you very much. Spasiba. I'm ready for questions if we have time.
Вопросы?
Thank you for your presentation. And the first question. Speaking about the regression testing, do you have in your company some tool or approach for automatic test impact analysis, choosing the test cases for right test cases for current feature, and maybe running it automatically or not?
At least I've seen 3 different solutions that are checking, connecting the source code with test cases. So like which test case covers which source code. So on the other way around, when you change that part of the source code, you know what test cases to run. There was also, Nokia has now the Bell Labs, the big research part, and they did also analysis on what is the correlation between user stories based on where do you change the code, for example. So you know that if you change and work on this user story, you need to do regression testing for these many user stories as well. So there's a lot of things there, let's say we are exploring. It's not fully built in yet, but that's one of the points. And what I'm suggesting is utilizing a lot of meta tagging for the test cases. And that little pyramid that I had there is about utilizing those tags and select the test case groups based on what you implement, what you change, what are the risks. And even in my dreams, you have a big dashboard, real time, from the customers, seeing what are the current problems. And even you have predictions which say what will be the tomorrow's problems. So, and then you can run the test cases against that. We have thousands of test cases, 10,000 of test cases. So we need to really select.
Hello, thank you for your talk. My question is about, you said about DevOps and measures. What measures do you use in your practice? Do you use code coverage with test, lines by blocks and so on?
Last time when I seen the result of the team who is working with KPIs, there were 87 already proposed. 87 different things to measure. In coding, I would say, and in testing, it's, for me, requirement coverage. So we are, in telecom is very much standard-based. We have very much standardized requirement process, and we have all the requirements written with ID. So we are following this up very nicely. We need to have, even according to our standards, traceability between requirements. I want to have also traceability from risks, so failure modes to testing, but also we run the code coverage measurement. We check for technical depth. We check for review coverage. It's like every line of code has to have a review.
And manual testers included in the analysis of test coverage or not? Or only developers and DevOps included in this practice?
Good question. The manual testing, so as said, we have a lot of testing phases. So system testers are really telco guys who know how to do those things on the technical level. They might not even know how to code, but they are brilliant. They can set up a system like in 1-2 days. Okay, that's fast actually. We have manual testing in a way that we have a lot of pre-scripted testing. I mean that we say what to do. Those are even semi-automated. So you run the scripts by hand. Even sometimes we have phones and really, as said, playing around with the phones. But these test cases are planned, designed in lifecycle management, and they have as well traceability. However, we are pushing for exploratory tests as well. And there, because of our standards, we need to have still the coverage and still the link. So what we suggest is to make a test charter as, for a test session, like a 2 hours test session. And in your test charter, you will link upfront that what you plan to cover. So there is still coverage. There is still traceability. But then you capture all the sessions, what you do, not the sessions, the scenarios that you covered through exploratory testing. And at the end, you report all the faults you found. And then, as soon as you report the fault, you have to describe exactly again the scenario, what was there. So a little bit rigid area, but I would say this is very much followable. Yeah. So you can follow it up, what happened.
К сожалению, у нас осталось время на последний вопрос. Last question.
Thank you for your talk. My question is, it is a belief in the small to medium corporation teams that there is no need in DevOps, like it was in the past. There is no need in admins, right? So, what indicators or metrics do you use to approve your existence in the eyes of the business or extend your team? Basically, what metrics do you use to show to business?
You mean the value of the business excellence team? Sorry.
Yes, additional value you bring to product.
Oh, that's a very good question. We are having fights there. You can imagine we are like a consultant. The consultant is the clever guy who is coming from outside, tell that you are crap, and then leaving the room. So this is exactly how they see us, and they immediately start the political fight. On the other hand, when we show and make the business cases where we are now, where we need to get, like looking into the cycle time of that organization and show that, it's 18 months. Your target is, I'm just saying something, 100 days. How you come down? We can give you the ideas, we can give you the improvements, we can guide you through. That's our business value, and actually now the team is quite well received. The other thing is you need management support. So we have, what is the level? Whatever, second guy below the CEO. We belong to him. So you need a direct connection. But you are right, this is not easy. And you know, these are the teams that are living until there is a buzz. And when the buzz gone, the team goes gone as well. But okay, you know, it's testing. I suppose we are needed still in testing, in business, and in any other area. By the way, the team consists of several experienced guys from many areas. So if no need for us as a consultant, we just go back and do some business. You know, I wanted to leave Nokia already from the second year, and I'm still there for 18 years, so it seems to be quite of a need to work there.
So it's time for the best question and for t-shirt.
Oh my
One
God,
is for
t-shirt.
you, yeah.
Best question.
And, yeah.
I love KPIs. No, I hate them, but at least I could talk about them. Thank you. They're finished? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. And thank you for staying with me, not with lunch, okay?